Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, we got a special guest here. We got my guy, Patriots Global, to cover his New England Patriots. And of course, we got some questions pertaining to his team and what they're going to do at number 3. But first, Colby, how you doing, man? Where can the people out here find you if they're looking for Patriots content?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm really all over the place. I do everything by myself, but I try to be on all platforms. You can mainly find me over on YouTube, of course, at Patriots Global. So where I break everything down, right? News, trades, rumors, kind of some exclusive, my opinion related content. I'm also over on Bleacher Report at Patriots Global too. I do content over there. Twitter, TikTok. I do more NFL related stuff, but you can find all of my social media at YouTube, link in my descriptions. But yeah, man, I mean, me and you, AZ, we go back to talk about like 2020, 2021 back in the day. So anytime that we can kind of hop on and talk some football, it's a great day.
Absolutely. And of course, we are joined by a great Chandler Jones. That's why I got the picture down there, because we share that player there. But Justin, how you doing, man?
Man, I cannot complain. You know, Monday, start the week off right. Talking some football, you can never complain. So,
absolutely. And we're officially in draft season, so that's exactly what we're excited about here in Cardinals land. So let's get started here. We got a lot to dive into, and of course, we want to ask that big question to Marvin Harrison Jr., but we're going to keep that to the later part of the stream. So, Colby, let's go ahead and get started about it. You had your off season here, and it shocked a lot of many NFL fans when you guys let go of or ended up releasing, or just that weird thing that ended up happening with Bill Belichick. Explain what happened over there, and how do you feel about the whole, I guess, new staff that came in?
Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks just for the lone fact of you're a Patriots fan, you grow up. Like I told you before we started, us Patriots fans who are 20 to 25, a little bit younger too, all we know is Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. We don't know anything different. And at the end of the day, change in any way, shape, or form in life, not just with football, is a very, very scary thing, especially when, as a Patriots fan, we've seen what it's like throughout many, many years with other NFL teams changing head coach and quarterbacks. We never wanted to be a part of that carousel, and now we're part of it. But unfortunately, Bill Belichick kind of put himself in this position. And I'll always be grateful for Bill Belichick, but at the end of the day, he was doing things that hurt the Patriots. And it seemed more like who he was, kind of that arrogancy kind of got in the way. The Dynasty just was released not too long ago on Apple TV. I recommend, if you're a Patriots fan or not, you go ahead and you check that out, because it really tells you what happened behind the scenes with a lot of things. And it was very, very eye-opening. Bill Belichick didn't necessarily treat his players the best, but he treated everybody the same. And it's not like he was, an a-hole to them or anything like that, but it was just he grew up in a military-based family, so that was his style of coaching. And I think that maybe that resonated with players back in the day who were kind of hard-mouthed football. But in today's generation, not just the NFL, just today's world, we're a lot more soft. That's not how you can treat people. That's not how you can treat players. People are not going to respond to that the same way. And I think that's a big reason that a lot of people didn't want to really play here anymore. Tom Brady wasn't here, and you kind of had this military-based kind of guy running the show. Kind of, it didn't matter what you were doing right. He would always find what you were doing wrong. And Bill Belichick was also the Patriots general manager. And ironically, so Bill Belichick was making like $25 million a year. He never gave a contract out to a player who would make more than he did. Now, is that ironic? Maybe. I don't think so. Supposedly in the Dynasty, it came out that there was a point where a player wanted this contract that was larger than him, and he basically said, I'm the coach. I'm the general manager. You're not going to be making more than me. And I think that also hindered the Patriots a lot of the time too. As we transition to this new style of Patriots coaching, what Patriots' new head coach Gerard Mayo is essentially trying to do is, and I quote, knock down silos and knock down these walls, essentially, and is trying to build an atmosphere in which people want to be at. The Patriots report card, all 32 teams get the report card. It came out for the Patriots that they were one of the worst in a lot of different categories, and Gerard Mayo is going to try to kind of rebuild that up. He wants players that are going to play for each other. He wants to have an atmosphere, kind of how I would put it, like the Detroit Lions, right? Dan Campbell, I wouldn't say he's like the best head coach in the National Football League, but he was able to take what the Detroit Lions kind of were and make them a team that almost went to the Super Bowl last year over, a 3-year span, because he got everybody to buy into what he was doing and play for each other. And sometimes playing for each other, playing for the guys next to you, is a lot more valuable than just having a lot of, top tier, top echelon players in the NFL. So as we transition to this new style of Patriots coaching, Gerard Mayo also understands from what us Patriots fans have been preaching for the last several years, and that's needing a quarterbacks coach, that's needing a real offensive coordinator, that's having continuity, not just as players, but having continuity along the coaching staff. And there were a couple of new additions defensively, new defensive coordinator. We haven't had a real defensive coordinator since Matt Patricia in like 2017, 2018. So it's been a while. Added a couple of additions there defensively, but for the most part, all of the new coaching staff additions came offensively, and it's pretty much completely brand new, right? Quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator. You have a new tight ends coach, wide receivers coaches, new three offensive line coaches. So everything is going to be brand spanking new. But at the end of the day, I think because of the state that Bill Belichick put the Patriots in, it was kind of needed for just a complete U-Haul reset. And that might scare a lot of people, but as a Patriots fan and kind of knowing where we've been the last couple of years, it's actually super refreshing.
This sounds very deja vu, isn't it? Mythic? This sounds like
Right.
To be honest with you, not so much to Bill Belichick, because we've been through a head coach carousel ourselves, but like just the different way of football, right? And I think that is the transition that most head coaches are going through with Jonathan Gannon. We've kind of seen players that really played hard for him. And kudos to him for doing that, because there were some of these games that we had no business in being in. We were playing absolutely tough. So yeah, we'll see exactly what happens to the Patriots from there. So are you excited about the new hire in Gerard Mayo, or are you just kind of like, let's see what happens?
I'm excited. I think a lot of Patriots fans too, I mean, even for me for a while, wanted a new head coach that was going to come in and probably be more offensive minded, just because I feel like most of the top echelon head coaches we're seeing and the teams that are a little bit more successful are the teams that have more of an offensive minded head coach. It's also an offensive minded league. It's a pass first league. Defenses are very important, don't get me wrong, but we saw last year the Patriots, who had a top 5, defense, they still only won 4 games. You need to be able to keep up offensively. So that did concern me a little bit. But at the end of the day, Gerard Mayo knows the Patriots, and I think he's going to marry an old school Patriot style, like, that 2000s, 2010 style, but make it a more modernized team too. So he's going to blend the two together with like that new kind of collegiate game that's coming in, but also kind of that old school game. So it's very exciting. The guy who also played here before. So he's also, he's bringing in some interesting kind of aspects too. Like one of the cool things that I like, it's very minimal, but it's cool, is he wants to give recognition to the players that deserve it. We also, we'll talk about this in a minute, free agency. They took care of their players. That was the big thing they did this offseason, but he's going to be bringing back the captain's patches, which the Patriots never do, which all goes back to, if you're going to play well for us and you are going to be a guy that deserves that captain's patch or deserves that contract, we're going to make sure you get that recognition. And I absolutely love that, because it goes back to that theory of get guys in the building that want to be here, want to play for you, and want to play for each other.
It's fascinating, man. Fascinating. Let's move on over to the next topic here.
I didn't know that at all, man. Captain's patch. How long have you guys been out of that?
We've been, dude, I don't think we really ever did that under Belichick. Like, it has been forever since we've done that. So it's so minimal, but it's a cool thing to see. It's a cool thing to see.
I did not know that. That's what I'm saying. It's nice to get insight on that stuff, because the Patriots do it completely different than the Cardinals, man. The Cardinals just suck, and we're at the bottom all the time. So but going on to the Mac Jones trade. I know this is pretty big for just cultural shift, moving on from a first-round pick quarterback, just new head coach. How are you feeling about Mac Jones potentially landing a quarterback at number 3 and just the return you guys got?
Yeah, man, it breaks my heart. It had to happen, but it breaks my heart still. It's so unfortunate, because we put ourselves in this position, and a lot of Patriots fans, based off of how Mac Jones played last year, because in the NFL, especially for the fan base, it's what have you done for me lately? How have you played recently? But we screwed him up. Bill Belichick screwed him up. They never put him in a place to succeed. And I actually got to meet Mac Jones coming off of that 2021 rookie season, going into training camp for 2022. I got to meet him, actually. He actually signed my helmet back there too. So I feel like I had a little bit more of this heart-to-heart thing, and I didn't want to see him go. But he also played so well in that rookie year. Interestingly enough, he thought in his rookie season he was going to be backing up Cam Newton. He was just as surprised as Cam and the entire fan base that Cam Newton was cut and Mac Jones was starting in his rookie year. He honestly preferred that he was going to kind of sit back and take a little while to learn. But we know that Mac Jones had a good season, right? He was like a top 12, top 15 quarterback statistically that season. He made NFL's top 100, voted on by the players. He made a Pro Bowl. He was also in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year behind Jamar Chase, but then the Patriots fell off after the bye week. Jamar Chase kind of picked it up, and he ultimately ran away with it. The big thing is that after Mac's rookie year, he was not put in a position to succeed. I don't know about you guys, but I believe in having a quarterback's coach, especially for your young quarterback, especially in that year two, because that year two leap for a quarterback is arguably the most important year for a quarterback. And what did the Patriots do? Well, they got rid of Brian Hoyer, who isn't a great quarterback, but he is an excellent mentor quarterback. Patriots players raved about him in 2018 and said that he was a big reason on why they actually beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53, because he was able to kind of be the scout team quarterback and just really play the way that Jared Goff was going to for them to be able to play and win in that game. And he was a big mentor for Mac Jones during the rookie 2021 season. But because Matt Patricia became the Patriots offensive coordinator, this defensive-minded coach in 2022, a lot of players spoke out. Brian Hoyer was one of them, and he got injured, and Bill Belichick ultimately released him. So we didn't have this veteran mentor quarterback. He had a new offensive coordinator in 2022 that was a defensive-minded coach who didn't know what he was doing in any way, shape, or form. The Patriots didn't give Mac Jones a good offensive line. They never got him a true wide receiver one. They basically asked him to do things, and this is what was reported, that they were asking him to do things that Tom Brady was doing towards the end of his career in New England in just his second year. It's just those little things that you say, how is any quarterback, any young quarterback, supposed to succeed here? You even look at past season too, the Patriots offensive line, their pass blocking offensive line was ranked last in every single metric. Mac Jones is a pure pocket passing quarterback, a little bit of mobility, but for the most part, a pure pocket passing quarterback. You need a good offensive line and you need, suitable weapons. And the Patriots never had that. At the end of the day, Mac Jones' mechanics got messed up, right? This past season, constantly throwing off his back foot, interception, pick six. I think he threw some of the most pick sixes, if not the most pick sixes out of every quarterback this season. And it's a big reason why the Patriots lost games. The Patriots had to move on from Mac Jones for the lone fact of he needed a change of scenery and we needed a change of scenery. Honestly, I think the Jags were one of the best places for Mac Jones to go. No, he's not going to start this season, but at the end of the day, Mac Jones should not start. He should not start this upcoming season. He needs an entire year to reset. His confidence was absolutely shot. I'm not sure if you guys saw any Patriots games last year, but pretty much every single game, he was sitting there on the sidelines, head down, depressed. You need confidence to play the quarterback position, and that kid had absolutely zero confidence. I mean, Belichick would go into the film room during the week after games and rip Brady apart. I can only imagine what he was doing to Mac Jones in front of the entire team. So again, like I said, he just needs a year to kind of sit back, kind of refine himself as a person and refine his own confidence, but also rework on his mechanics. The issues for Mac don't come with accuracy. It just comes down to his foot placement and mechanics that were all messed up with the Patriots not having a good pass blocking offensive line. If he can sit back for a year, relearn that, refine himself, I still think that he can be a good starting quarterback in this league. As for getting a 6th-round pick, you wish that you could get more for a former first-round pick, 15th overall pick in 2021. But again, football's what have you done for me lately? And at the end of the day, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this past season. I think the Patriots actually got more for Mac than the Bears got for Justin Fields, which says a lot. The Bears got the conditional 6th-round pick, if I'm correct. The Patriots just straight up got a 2nd-round pick. Yeah, Patriots just got a 6th-round pick for Mac Jones. So at the end of the day, I'm just happy they were able to get something for him.
That's fair. And you got the new regime too. And a lot of times they kind of want to get their own guy, which
new
kind of
quarterback, new everything.
Segues us into your free agency / draft. Now you did get Jacoby Brissett. So that is, guys, just talk about just real quick, because I think that what everybody really, really wants to hear is Marvin Harrison Jr. in the play. But I guess real quick recap. Is the free agency what you did or what have you done? Anything big? Are you going through this, strip this down, rebuild? What is the Patriots in for, I guess, for the next couple years, or what do you expect?
Yeah, so the Patriots had the most cap space out of every NFL team heading into free agency. They had just over $100 million to spend. Wow. And Gerard Mayo, Patriots new head coach, said, we're going to burn some cash this offseason. Patriots general manager Elliott Wolf said they're going to weaponize the offense. As a Patriots fan, you're like, damn, this is going to be one fun offseason. And it wasn't exactly that. Now, believe it or not, the Patriots have about $48 million still in cap space. They spent some of the most cap space in the entire National Football League this offseason. It just wasn't exactly to bring in new players. And that's the fun thing. But I think Patriots fans got to get it a little more clear that this is not Madden. Okay. Just because you can sign new players doesn't mean that they're going to come in and be these star players. It all comes down to, scheme fit and whatnot. And at the end of the day, the Patriots brought back their own players. That's what free agency should be, is first off, taking care of your players that deserve it. And that's what they did. They bring back Kendrick Bourne. They bring back Michael Onwenu. They bring back Hunter Henry. And at the end of the day, this was, as Gerard Mayo even said, not a very good offensive-minded free agency. The Patriots brought back Hunter Henry, who is a key piece to their offense and was the best tight end on the market. You brought back Kendrick Bourne, who's coming off an ACL injury, but is a very, very good wide receiver when he's actually utilized, a good wide receiver too, who, after T. Higgins was tagged and Michael Pittman and Mike Evans getting their respective extensions, Kendrick Bourne became the second best wide receiver behind Calvin Ridley, who the Patriots also tried to target here in New England. They also got Michael Onwenu, who was the best offensive lineman. So if I told you the Patriots got the second best wide receiver, best offensive lineman, and best tight end, you would have been like jumping for joy. But it's because they brought back their own players who were a part of a 4-win team that Patriots fans are like, I don't know how I feel about it. So they did make a couple of good additions. KJ Osborne from the Vikings, I think, is a really, really good wide receiver 3, very good complementary piece. Antonio Gibson, a really, really good, third down receiving back, fits a need that the Patriots have too. They made very good, solid additions, but for the most part, it was bringing their guys back, and understandably so. It's just, this is going to be a team that wants to rebuild itself through the draft. Yep. Ron Wolf is the father of Elliott Wolf, the Patriots general manager, and he's one of the best general managers of all time with the Green Bay Packers, and really built them up to being one of the best franchises in NFL history. And he believes that you build your team successfully through the draft. And I think that's exactly what the Patriots are going to try to do.
Yeah, definitely the way the Cardinals are doing it as well. We can't go, we can't leave you without asking you this question. Mack Wilson, man. Well, what are your thoughts here? The Cardinals are now the new home of Mack Wilson. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I know, you talked about this a little bit. The Patriots tried to get Mack Wilson back, and they offered him a very, very similar contract to what you guys did. 3-year deal. You guys just offered him a little bit more money, and I don't blame Mack Wilson whatsoever for going to a place where he was going to ultimately get as much cash as humanly possible. He was formerly a Cleveland Brown. He really didn't pan out for them. Was traded to New England for a very rare player-to-player swap, Chase Winovich for Mack Wilson. And last year, or not last year, but 2022, Mack Wilson didn't do too much. The final 5 games of our season didn't play a single defensive snap. This past year, though, he became a real piece to the defense. It was a career season for him because the Patriots figured out how to actually put him in a position where he was going to succeed, right? And I think that's the big thing. New England came out and even said, we didn't put him in a position to correctly succeed. I think that he's a very, very good third down pass rusher. He's not an every down linebacker. He's more situational. He's a rotational guy, but a guy who has a lot of speed is going to give you that ability on special team, rush the passer on third down. And I think because of his speed, he's a guy that a lot of times offensive linemen and quarterbacks don't expect, because he just shoots through the gap so damn fast that you can't really compensate for him. So I think if you guys utilize him the same way we did last year, he's going to be a very, very good complementary piece for you.
Perfect. Any thoughts, Mythic, on Mack Wilson, or any questions to Patriots Global?
With Mack Wilson, though, is there anything that we should be expecting? Because, on tape, it looks like he can just do everything. He just, flies around. He looks really quick on tape. Like you said, it feels like he can just do, jack of all trades. Just kind of like what Isaiah Simmons was supposed to be for us. It's kind of like what we're expecting, just somebody who can just do it all. But obviously not S tier do it all. He's just about as average as you can get. But we're not expecting anything insane, but is that on par?
Yeah. I think he's going to try to be what Simmons ultimately was supposed to be for you guys. I don't know if I would say he's going to be as good in coverage as Simmons would be, but this is a guy too that this past offseason actually gained weight in order to bulk up. The big part to his game that was lacking in 2022 was he could not play against the run at all. He was getting lost, and that was because ultimately he was very, very undersized. when he was able to add that weight, he was able to kind of get past offensive linemen and get past tight ends and kind of push through them to get to the quarterback when he was rushing. But he also made a much bigger impact against the run when he was able to put on some weight. So yeah, he's a guy that's going to be able to do everything. But I think with his ability, with his opportunity stepping up against the run and being able to rush the quarterback, I would say that that's the opportunities that he should get more with the Arizona Cardinals. And I know that you guys can play pretty aggressive defensively at times, especially pass rush wise. So I think that he's a guy that definitely should get, 5 sacks for you this upcoming season.
That would be a W. That would be a win.
Yeah.
What do you think? We're just hearing this mythic. What do you think we should put Mack Wilson? Because honestly, I heard Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons was not great, even in coverage.
No.
I know he was expected to be really, really good, but he just was lost all the time. Do you feel like Mack Wilson, and this is going to you, Justin, should be more of a pass rusher for us, or do you think he's going to be a middle linebacker for the Cardinals?
I feel like it'd be a hybrid of both. I feel like he'll play off Kaiser White, but I feel like he's going to fluctuate all the way around the field. I feel like there's not going to be like a set position for him. Because as you know, our edge group is crazy. We don't have any like top end talents, but we have a lot of like guys who can get active. We got Gardick, we got BJ Ojolari, who we're expecting to take a step. Mack Wilson, who can do it. So I feel like we'll see him fluctuate all the way around the field, but I feel like he's going to complement Kaiser White. And then, like you said, third down, I feel like we can see him coming off the edge.
All right, perfect. All right, let's get over here to what most people are talking about. Now we're going to talk mostly about the draft as well, but Justin, I'll let you take this one.
Marvin Harrison. This is my guy. This is the guy that I've been preaching since like week 4 or week 5 of last season. Because, we had Josh Dobbs at quarterback. All hope seemed to be lost. And I thought we were getting like a top 2 pick. And then we thought Houston was going to be bad. So we thought we were going to be in play for 2 top 5 picks just for Houston to go out and get pick 27 is what it is now. Just completely crushing our dreams. So the Patriots are in a very similar situation, where they desperately need a wide receiver, where Marvin Harrison just seems to be a generational talent. Do you believe for the New England Patriots that Marvin Harrison is in play, or is it going to be somebody that everyone thinks it's going to be just quarterback Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whoever falls to 3?
Yeah, so the Patriots did meet with Marvin Harrison Jr., and some Patriots fans kind of took that and ran with it. They're going to meet with pretty much every single top-tiered player in the first round, so I wouldn't take too much from that. This might sound a little crazy, and I might get roasted for it. My fan base didn't like when I said this, and I lost some people, but I stand by what I said. I think drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., and by the way, I do think that he is already being suited for a Hall of Fame jacket, but I think drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Patriots at 3 is one of the worst scenarios for them in this entire draft. Now, why do I think that? Wide receiver is a complementary piece, right? Like that is the sprinkle on your cake. We're still trying to actually bake the cake, let alone put on the sprinkles, right? You need quarterback. You need offensive line. These are 2 of your bigger needs before wide receiver. They have a core right now that it's not necessarily great, but they'll be able to get by. Also, you can get a high quality wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, especially in this year's draft class, which is absolutely stacked to the rim. Yeah. In the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round. I mean, you look at how many receivers were taken last year. How many of those guys were taken in the 1st, especially early on? The Patriots either need to select a quarterback at 3 and set themselves up now or for the future, or what they should do if they're not really buying themselves into one of these quarterbacks is to trade down. Get a haul, okay? You could trade with the Minnesota Vikings and go from 3 to 11 and pick up at minimum 3 first-round picks. If they want to select a wide receiver in the 1st so bad, whatever. Okay, go ahead and do it. Get your Roma Dunze, get your Malik Neighbors, whatever. But trade down, set yourself up now, set yourself up for the future to be able to then later get your quarterback or fill some of these other holes and then get your wide receiver. I think that drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. in such a stacked wide receiver class at 3 and staying pat there, it's going to hinder this team significantly, and you're not going to get the value back on Marvin Harrison Jr. when you don't have a quarterback who's going to be able to consistently and accurately get him the ball, but also when you don't have an offensive line that's going to be able to keep your quarterback upright for Marvin Harrison Jr. to actually get through his routes. So for me, I know a lot of Patriots fans want him. I understand why. Great player. I'm not saying if they drafted him that it's like, oh, we got a terrible player, but it's just where this franchise is, it really does make absolutely zero sense, especially because they have the 34th pick. That's the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. There's going to be wide receivers that are in the 1st round that are going to drop to the 2nd round where you can just go ahead and grab those guys at 34.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. That's definitely one of my points as well, pertaining to Marvin Harrison Jr. Because although I think we all kind of believe that he is probably the best wide receiver here in the 2024 NFL draft, you got to establish your quarterback, especially since most teams say the same thing. Like they don't want to be picking this high ever again, right? Fans, we love it. We love to eat it, especially in April where, draft season is amazing, but no fan base or sorry, no organization wants to pick this high ever again. So you might as well get a quarterback where, you're sitting at 3 and you could potentially get, either Jaden Daniels or Drake May out of those two guys, or I guess we could throw JJ McCarthy in there. Let me ask you a quick question here, Patriots Global. What are your thoughts on those quarterbacks?
Dude, first off, I don't know how JJ McCarthy's in the conversation for 2, let alone 3.
It came out of nowhere.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think that JJ McCarthy was really even a first round pick. I think that he's someone who he has the intangibles, but Michigan had everything built around him perfectly. They didn't really ask him to do much. When he was throwing the ball, a lot of times it was to receivers that were getting yaks. Blake Corum, who I think has a lot of tread on his tire because they ran him through the ground. They had an elite defense that just continuously gave JJ McCarthy opportunities. McCarthy has a lot of good intangibles to work with, but do I think that he should start year 1 or week 1? Definitely not, especially not for the Patriots. My guy for the Patriots is Drake May. Now, I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. That's the first player that I fell in love with in this whole draft process. I don't think any player, especially at the quarterback position, has improved more than Jaden Daniels has on a year-to-year basis. But Drake May fits what the Patriots need more, right? He's someone who throws very, very well in the middle of the field. He probably throws better in the middle of the field than any quarterback in this draft. Patriots' new offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, loves to operate in the middle of the field. He loves to utilize his tight ends. Drake May throws so well, not just outside the numbers, but especially inside the numbers, which is where those tight ends are going to be running up the seam and where they're mostly going to be utilized between Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, who signed a 1-year deal. Jaden Daniels, I don't think it's that he can't throw inside the numbers, but he was never asked to do so, right? He had Brian Thomas. He had, all these great receivers that were outside perimeter guys. He was always throwing outside of the numbers.
Yeah.
So what's it going to look like when he's asked to throw inside a lot more? And that's something to his game that is still very raw. So I don't think you can go wrong necessarily with either guy. I think the top 3 blue chip players obviously are those first 3 quarterbacks. But in terms of scheme fit, Drake May makes a lot more sense. Not to mention the fact, too, that you can make a case that, Jaden Daniels has a great supporting cast around him, right? Like he has 2 first-round wide receivers. Drake May is a first-round pick without having a top offensive line, a top tight end, a top running back, a top wide receiver. He put himself into this conversation all by himself without that supporting cast around him. And I know Patriots fans want that guy. Like they want that guy who, doesn't have those question marks on, are you a product of the offense or are you just good? So Drake May's my guy. Question is, what's Washington going to do?
Yeah, no, very, very fair. Justin / Mythic, any questions here pertaining to this? I do got one more.
I think Drake May is going to be the guy for you guys. I think it'll be Daniels 2, Caleb Williams 3, and then if you're the Cardinals, do you trade out of that pick? Yeah. Quick question, or do you think they're going to take Marvin Harrison, finally solidify a receiver with Kyler?
Honestly, I feel like this is the smart thing to do too. Trade down. Patriots head coach Rod Mayo even said in their the owner meeting or the whatever the heck they just had around the league that the best way to hit on the draft is to have more picks. The more shots you take, the better chance you're ultimately going to have. And like I said, this is a great wide receiver class. And from what I understand, NFL league executives, they don't believe that there is this big gap between Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. So maybe you guys don't trade down all that far. Maybe you trade up, or you guys trade down with a team that's trying to trade up for a quarterback. Maybe you trade with the Vikings. Maybe you guys only drop down like 3 or 4 picks, and then maybe you can still get a Malik Neighbors, right? Then maybe he's gone and you get a Roma Dunze. You can still get a high quality wide receiver 1, but also get your guys, another first round pick or a second round pick, depending how far you trade down, obviously. So I think setting yourselves up for the future, I think is also something that the Arizona Cardinals need, because I think you guys have a lot of good pieces around you. You have the quarterback position obviously built around you too, but let's say you're able to get multiple first round picks and still get a Roma Dunze or a Malik Neighbors. You can use those picks to either draft young top echelon players or do what the Miami Dolphins did, trading for, I forget what's his name at cornerback who they just got.
Jalen Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. Jalen Ramsey. They traded their first round pick for him. They traded their other first for Tyreek Hill, right? Two big complementary pieces, both offensively and defensively, something that you guys can do too. It might not be the sexy thing because everybody wants Marvin Harrison Jr., but at the end of the day, you trade down, you get great compensations, you set yourselves up for the future, but you still get your wide receiver one. So if I was your general manager, that's what I would do.
It's tough too because Minnesota can literally offer a haul. They can give you 11, 23 this year and be like, hey, we'll give you another first next year. So if they're calling with 3 first-round picks, it's going to be tough to be like, hey, no.
Yeah, and they have to. They have to, especially because I feel like there's so many teams that need quarterbacks this year that you could call up the Saints, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Giants, and be like, hey guys, so, this team's on the other line. This is what they're offering. Do you want to jump them and get into this bidding war now? Because I think people are going to jump once all of these quarterbacks start coming off the board.
And we got all the leverage too. If it's not 3 first-round picks, cool. Marvin Harrison is probably ours. So, I mean, I love the position we're in personally, and thank God we lost that last game because we would not have been in this position right here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question for you, Colby. 2024 expectations. You are already stacked up here against you with the AFC East. I love to tune into your guys' roundtable, and you guys see some, the Bills. You got, the Dolphins, and now you got the Jets making a come out. What are your 2024 expectations for your Patriots?
Yeah, I'll actually be hosting one of those, at least one of those next year. So I'm excited for the Roundtable Sports launch, next year, because I'll definitely be a bigger part of it. But I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting a playoff push, and I think it's all going to be very much dictated on the health of this team, but it's also going to be dictated on how well do they hit on their draft picks, right? They could be a middle-of-the-pack team if they hit on all their draft picks, but am I realistically thinking that? No. Look, Jacoby Brissett is a good quarterback who's underrated. He is an upgrade over any quarterback play the Patriots had during the entire 2023 season. Also been here before too, so he's a little bit more familiar with the team and the system already, and he's not exactly starting completely fresh, completely new. I'm also a big fan of whether it's Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whatnot. You sit them for at least half the season. I'm a fan of sitting the whole season. I just think that it's kind of, there's a blueprint. It's been proven time after time, but at least half of the season, and give Jacoby at least half of 2024 to the entire 2024 season. The Patriots also had the hardest schedule in the NFL last year, winning 4 games. And if they just had better quarterback play, they would have won arguably 4 more games at least. So I think they'll, right now, I'm not trying to go too high. I'm going to say that they'll probably win 6-7 games right now. Keep expectations low. I think it was Spider-Man No Way Home that said this, right? If you don't set yourself up for disappointment, you can never be disappointed. So that's kind of my motto that I'm rolling with for this upcoming season. All I want, I don't think we're going to be competitive. All I want is to just enjoy watching football again. That's what I want, right? Whether we're winning or losing, close games. Let me see the progression throughout the season. Be excited for 2025 to hopefully compete. Just see the development of players.
All right, perfect. Well, Colby, it's been an absolute pleasure. Do you have any questions for us for the Cardinals before we let you go?
I don't think so, unless you guys are willing to trade. Wait, actually, I do actually have a question. You guys recently released one of your tackles, if I'm correct.
DJ Humphries.
Yes, I believe he's still a free agent. What do you guys think of him? Because the Patriots do still need a starting left tackle, let alone depth. Is he a guy the Patriots should realistically go after, or is he kind of cooked?
You're not the first one who's asked this. We actually had a Commanders guy last week. The same question for DJ Humphries. Honestly, I think the fan base, I think we could all agree, great personality, great locker room guy. Honestly, he was a good left tackle. It's just, I think he was kind of getting to the point where it was just, how do you describe this, Mythic? Like, there's a lot of false starts, a lot of kind of
holding calls, false starts. It's just all like the stuff you just don't want. Yeah. But I mean, he's definitely serviceable.
Yeah, for sure.
But coming off an ACL tear, that's what makes it tricky, because you're getting the holding calls, the false starts, and you don't know what he's going to look like post rehab. It's probably not a bad thing taking a shot on for a second half season player. Was it like week 14?
No, it was like maybe the second game before the season, or it ended. I think it was like week
16.
It was like week 16, week 15, around there. So,
oh wow, so he might not even be able to. Well, probably, I'm
yeah,
assuming won't
I
start
think
the
that's one of the
season
main
then.
reasons why the Cardinals did what they did, because we also did get some cap savings post
Like
June
15
1st. Yeah,
million.
15 million dollars. So it makes sense to just cut him. There is a door to bring him back per our general manager if we did decide to do that, but like we don't know if he's going to be available in the beginning of the season. I think that's why they did it.
Got you. So if you're the Patriots, probably stay away because you're going to need someone to just start for you week 1, let alone having depth. So look, maybe if the Patriots keep some of their cap space, right? Maybe when he is healthy, they bring him in for a visit if all hell is breaking loose and then they bring him in. But probably not realistic for the Patriots to bring him in this offseason and give him a kind of a look if he's still kind of rehabbing.
Yeah, if he's progressing really quickly, he probably you'll get a lot of phone calls towards the beginning of the start of the season. But we'll have to kind of wait and see. I think we're kind of in the dark as well, and I think the Cardinals just decided to get the cap savings and deal with it after June 1st. So,
for sure, man, I appreciate
all
that.
right,
I'll definitely have to relay that information.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day, man.
Have a good one.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, we got about 10 more minutes. Let's chop it up here, Mythic, because I kind of want to react to what my guy Colby / Patriots Global had to say. And I also do want to talk about one other thing that happened, and Hassan Reddick is no longer available. So let's real quick. I know we only have about 10 minutes, maybe even 9 minutes. Any kind of instant reactions from our guest, Patriots Global?
Man, great insight today. Great insight. And I feel like he basically hit everything right in the head. And a lot of things I didn't know, like the captain's catches, I had no idea. And Mac Wilson, obviously great to hear as Cardinals fans, jack of all trades. It's kind of what we were hoping for. And if he can slot in and he packed on that weight, which I've heard the rumors that he packed on the weight last season, hopefully he's continuing to do so we can bolster up in the run game as well. I'm excited about that. But the draft is just where I keep my head at. My head is just so draft heavy right now with what is it going to be, Marvin Harrison? Now I'm like teeter-tottering back and forth, whether it's going to be trading back, whether I'm on board with everything, right? Like if you look at 3 first-round picks, it's going to be tough to be like, no.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, it's going to be hard to say no because 11 and 23 allows you to trade back up. And I am high on Neighbors too. I think Neighbors is wide receiver 1B. I don't think it's wide receiver 2 for Neighbors. I think it's wide receiver 1B. I feel like he just runs routes so perfectly. Super physical receiver. He's fast.
Yeah.
Faster than I thought. Like that 40 is crazy. And I'm just sitting here like he just boosted his trade value. Like he's probably going top 5, top 6. If it's not the 5 to the Chargers, it might be 6. So like, can we trade from 11 if we get Minnesota's pick? Like there's just a lot of things. Are you still team Marvin Harrison or are you just like me?
No, I am, but I'm kind of teeter-totting too because like it's kind of one of those things where like you don't want to get disappointed, but you also do understand that this draft class is really, really insane for the wide receivers. And this is my stance. I do want Marvin Harrison Jr., but I would hate it more if we didn't get one of the top 3 wide receivers. I think that's more important to me, that the Arizona Cardinals leave this first round, especially in the first pick, with one of the top 3 wide receivers, Malik, Odunze, or Marv. If they do decide to trade back, please, Montreal support, trade back up and get yourself one of these guys. I think it's absolutely important for the Cardinals to do this because one of the biggest holes we have, and we still got holes, right? We still got holes. I like what the free agents that we brought in. I like that we, addressed the holes that we did. But I think the elephant in the room is we cannot go into 2024, expect Kyler Murray to have an MVP or a comeback player of the year if you give him Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson in the second year, and Zach Pascal. You just can't expect that right now. Are we putting too much weight into a rookie wide receiver? Maybe, but that's kind of what we have right now. That's kind of the hands that we were dealt. We didn't go after T. Higgins, right? Or obviously they franchise tagged them, but we didn't go after any wide receivers to make a big spark. But I think right now the Cardinals need to at least leave with one of these top 3 wide receivers. I would hate it more if we didn't do that as opposed to trading back. I'm going to be completely honest. If we trade back, cool, but we got to get one of those top 3 guys. We have to
trade back up. You have to. If we don't land Neighbors or Marvin Harrison, it's going to be tough for me to look at this draft as a success. Like there's a couple people on the back end, like Xavier Legette, that I'm still high on.
Yeah.
People like Brian Thomas as well. I haven't really dug into Brian Thomas too much, but I feel like it's pretty easy for me with Marvin Harrison 1, Malik Neighbors 2, and then Rome Odunze 3.
Yeah.
But Rome Odunze, it's just tough because the other 2 I feel like are day 1 starters off the rip, and they can both play outside receiver, no hesitation. Rome Odunze, I feel like will struggle a little more than the other 2 playing outside receiver. I feel like Marvin Harrison is just day one ready over anything. It might take Neighbors 2, 3, 4, 5 games to kind of get that comfortability. But I feel like after those 5 games, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, this guy's a ball player.
There's a reason
and Roma Dunze, you might move him to the slot, right? You might have to move him to the slot to start because I don't know. I don't know if that outside game is going to translate for him right off the rip. But I feel like over time he will progress and be good. Like I feel like Roma Dunze as a prospect will be a great receiver. He'll be the 3rd best receiver in this draft class for sure.
So you think it's just going to take him a little while to get
it might take him 1 or 2, 3 years to kind of find himself and kind of solidify. I don't know if he's going to have that college translation necessarily, but like you can't go wrong, right? Like if you can land one of them, you got to do it. You got to do it. And if Rome comes here, he will be playing outside receiver because Greg Dortch is our slot guy.
Yeah. Well, the only way that you would get Malik is that if you trade with the Giants, let's say that rumor is true and the Giants do want to move off of Daniel Jones for the future, then, trade with the Giants. And then Marv goes 5, 6 goes Neighbors. Because if you think about it here, if the Cardinals trade to 11 with the Vikings, like you're going to have to like
haul back everything.
You're playing a very tricky game, especially if you want to get Malik. Cause I could see them go 5, 6. That's going to be tough. I'm a little higher on Roma Dunze personally. I think he can translate. I think all of them are day one starters, honest. And especially as this Cardinals organization, whatever one of those 3 are on this roster, they're day one starters. They're going to probably be
for sure. They're wide receiver 1. They're the best receiver on the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. So it just kind of really depends, obviously, where they're drafted. So, that's interesting. That's very fascinating to see there. So if you do want Neighbors, maybe the Giants might be the best suitable. You won't get very much back compared to your Vikings, but that might be the best suited. Let's talk real quick. I know we're only short on time here. Let's talk real quick about Hassan Reddick. He was finally traded away, but to the Jets. What are your overall thoughts and reactions to Hassan Reddick no longer an option for the Cardinals?
I don't think there could have been a better landing spot for Hassan Reddick. It just the Bryce Huff Hassan Reddick swap is basically what happened for the Eagles and the Jets. They kind of just swap guys. And Hassan Reddick, I believe it's a 3rd conditional, or it can turn into a 2nd round pick. I believe it's a 3rd round base, and it can turn into a 2nd round if he gets like 10 plus sacks and plays like 65% of his games or something like that. Whew. I mean, that Jets defense is already scary as it is. You just add a guy who can get 10 plus sacks pretty easily. You lost Bryce Huff, but you just replaced him. So, I mean, that defense is scary. And if Aaron Rodgers does stay healthy, they have Mike Williams. If Tyron Smith stays healthy, that's just a lethal team in general. They're banking on a lot of guys to stay healthy. They're banking on Mike Williams, Tyron Smith. Like, it's a lot of guys. You're like, it's a lot of question marks, but the moves on paper aren't terrible. And then Aaron Rodgers coming off Achilles, is he going to be good? I don't think there's going to be any problems there. I think he'll figure it out. Just like I assume Kevin Durant would figure it out. You just got 2 great tier athletes, and you're just like, these guys are just freaks. You know what I mean? Like they just devoted to the game. They're going to figure out a way. So I think Rodgers will come back and figure it out and be all right. It's just the line has to hold him up. He's 39 years old. You got to do everything you can to protect him. But the Hassan Reddick trade helps so much for that team.
Yeah. A 2nd year of Rodgers. They got now Hassan Reddick going to the New York Jets. Good for them. Honestly, I think that Cardinals fans loved the idea of bringing him back, bringing him home. And of course, I was in that same boat as well, which I would love to kind of throw a 4th round, but obviously that wasn't going to get it done because you would have to also pay him too. And then thinking about his age, and the Arizona Cardinals weren't doing moves like this at all. Like that wasn't the trend this year. So it didn't make sense like on paper that it was going to happen. I think it was just a lot of hopefulness, a lot of wishful thinking for Cardinal fans to potentially bring him back to the desert. But obviously that hope is gone. That dream is done.
Right. That dream is killed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any last thoughts here? Anything else you want to bring up before we close up shop? We are having a smaller abbreviated version. If you guys didn't catch it, we did talk to a insider here of the New England Patriots to kind of get a little feel of what they're thinking there at the 3rd overall spot. So if you didn't check it out, go ahead and watch this on replay.
Absolutely.
So anything else that you have?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's just a good insights week in to week out. And if you guys want to see more people, go ahead and make sure you let us know in the comment section below. Let us know in the chat. We're looking to get more people in as we go, especially draft heavy. You know, we got Commanders. If you guys haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. We did that last week. We got Patriots this week, like we said. What team are you looking to get on next?
I think we all, the Chicago Bears are still fascinating. I think we all know number one is going to be
for sure,
Caleb. But that number 9 pick, I've heard a lot of their people over there, a lot of people that cover the Bears, that they want to trade that back. So maybe that might be a suitable spot for the Cardinals to swoop in back to 9 from 11 if they do trade back. Because although I know they would want Roma Dunze, they don't need Roma Dunze. That they got more, and they got Keenan Allen. So I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating to see what can happen there with that 9 overall pick. Yeah.
If they can get Rome, I think that's so perfect for him too with Keenan Allen. Like, I know there is a lot of people that want to trade back. I've watched a couple people talk about that, but if you can land Rome, because Keenan Allen's 32 years old.
Yeah.
Have him learn behind Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners, just filthy wide receivers in the league. Oh my gosh, you can't ask for anything better. And then you got DJ Moore, you can play in the slot, and then you got 2 outsides with the slot right there. Caleb Williams couldn't be put in a better situation than that if Roma Dunze falls to 9. I would take him, no hesitation, just be like, hey, our defense is fantastic as it is. If Caleb Williams can come in here and be 75% of what CJ Stroud was last season, we're going to the playoffs, right? Like, you're going from the number 1 pick, which obviously wasn't theirs, but number 1 overall pick, land a potential franchise guy and just halt yourself into the playoffs.
I get it.
I think that's a move that'll almost get them there. Do you think so?
No, I agree. Something just popped in my mind. Maybe a Vikings. Maybe we can get the Vikings out here. That's probably what we're going to look for here moving forward. All right, y'all. But let's close up shop here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, definitely do us that favor. If you do like any content here from Mythic or me, definitely go and subscribe it up. We are on the road to, I believe, was it 1,300 as of right now? So definitely subscribe it up, smack the like button. We're going to be closing up shop. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.